All right, today we will be looking at our spiral review recap. And as we go through this, we are going to be looking at our 3/4 steps. I would love to see you guys write those down and reference back to. So, those 4 steps, our first one, our one is to isolate the radical. Step 2 is to square both sides to eliminate the radical. Step 3 is to solve. Okay, so we're going to be referencing those steps as we go through problems today. All right, step number 1. You should also have out your calculator or Desmos, as you can see we are using here. So step 1 is to isolate that radical. Right now that radical is all by itself. There's nothing else connected to that. So our first step is to square both sides in this case. So that's step number 2. Square roots get canceled. We are left with x equals 6 squared. Again, if we're not sure how to do that, 6 squared gives us 36. That is then your answer. All right, number 2. Again, we have just that radical on the left. Nothing else is connected to it. So our next step, step 2, is to square both sides. Okay, and I'm putting that negative 11 in parentheses so we know we are also squaring that negative. Our square root and our square eliminate. We're left with x over 8 equals. And again, if we are typing this into our calculator, we've got negative 11 and parentheses squared. So that gives us a positive 121. How is this 8 connected to our x? By division. So we need to multiply both sides by 8. That cancels that out. X is equal to 121 times 8. 968 is our answer there. All right, number 3. First, we need to isolate our radical. And in this case, we have a plus 10 connected to it on the right side. Sorry, on the left side, but right of it. So our first step is to isolate that square root of 5x by adding 10 to both sides. On the left, we are left with 5 square root of 5x equals negative 5 plus 10 gives us a positive 5. Our step 2 is to square both sides. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to do a different color just so you can see this process. Squaring both sides, square root cancels out. We're left with 5x equals 5 squared. Again, if you want to type that in, 5 squared gives us 25. And our last step is to solve. So we're going to solve for that x. Sorry, excuse me. So we're going to divide both sides by 5. We are left with x equals 25 divided by 5 is 5. Number 4. Again, we have to isolate that radical, and we've got a 6 hanging out in front. So we got to get rid of that first. So that's connected through multiplication. So our first step is to divide both sides by 6. We're left with a square root of x minus 5 equals 24. Again, if you're not sure what that is, go ahead and take a couple seconds and just type it in, because this is where we are seeing the most mistakes, is with some of that computation piece. So we've got 4. We're going to now square both sides. So that gets rid of that square root. We've got x minus 5 equals 4 squared, which gives us 16. 4 times 4 gives us 16. And we're going to solve by getting x by itself. We're going to add 5 to both sides. X equals 21. All right, let's take a look at number 5. We isolate those radicals, and both of these are both sides, everything is underneath each radical. So we're going to start by squaring both sides. So we're right on to step number 2, and that cancels the radicals on both sides. So now we're left with x equals 12 minus 5x. Again, we want to get x by itself. So we've got a 1x here and a negative 5x. We're going to add 5x to both sides. Add 5x over here. Cancels out. Left with 12 on the right and 6x on the left. Divide both sides. Get x by itself again. So we are left with x equals 2. 12 divided by 6 gives you 2. And number 6. Again, isolate the radical. Both sides, everything is underneath the radical. So we are going to start with step number 2, which is to square both sides. That eliminates our square root. And we just bring down everything else that was underneath the square roots. Okay, we're going to get our x's by themselves. So I'm going to make this a 1. So I'm going to go ahead and move this 1x over to the left. So I've got negative 8 on the right. I've got 5x plus 42 on the left, minus 42. Bring down our 5x. So we've got negative 50 equals 5x. And again, getting that x by itself. And we're going to end by dividing both sides by 5. So x is equal to negative 10. Hopefully you got all of that written into your spiral. If you have any questions, please feel free to email your teacher. And this will help to prepare you and give you something to look off of for an example of each for your quiz, probably tomorrow or whenever your teacher tells you it is.